state of music is always changing as we slowly embrace a full digital life revolution, uploading acapellas, drum beats, and guitar riffs to the World Wide Web from one countryside to the next. It's an international love affair, and new music is our gift to the free world. Our freedom of expression is only limited by our creativity, so we stand together, and because of it, our voices are unlimited. We represent every corner of the world as we broadcast our message to every country, state, city, and town. Our supporters have expressed tremendous gratitude for taking the high road and giving them free music again to the world.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome back, friends. I am back on track and ready to attack because you all know this already. Anybody listening to the sound of my voice knows this already. You guys know that I'm tired. I'm tired of false promises. I'm tired of fake stories from fake people with fake backgrounds or fake educations or fake reported or claimed job histories. I'm tired of these fake people with their faulty evidence, with their flawed witnesses. I'm just tired of this thing called UFOs. Maybe I've been here too long. I've grown jaded and bitter and more than a little tired. Because you see, I don't know about you, but I am tired of all of these self-professed UFO experts. Some would say UFO prophets, who are supposed to be prophets of disclosure. But all they're really doing is lining their own pockets and feeding the public garbage and fake stories, or let's just say less than credible stories that have in many cases, no reliance on facts, no reliance on evidence, no corroboration, stories. And while some would argue that the human race is a social animal and stories are part of our culture, they have been for the entire history of humanity. But when we get into this UFO genre of stories, there's a fatal flaw here because many of the storytellers who are proponents, authors of these stories, tellers of these tales have a lot of problems. And of course, they all claim that these are true stories, but no one ever seems to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. No one ever seems to give us any real, solid, verifiable physical evidence of their claims. No, we've seen it all before. At least I have. Tantalizing may be evidence. Absence of evidence that some call evidence, it's not evidence. Absence of evidence is not evidence. No, I'm tired. I'm tired of these fake people lining their pockets, selling these stories, telling these stories, claiming they're true, claiming that they have some, experience in these UFO matters, so we should trust them because they're an expert. And people make absolutely lofty, incredible claims. And such is the subject of our show tonight in the form of one Nick Pope. For those unaware, Nick Pope has been doing this for decades now, right? Nick Pope claimed to be the Fox Mulder of the British government, the British Fox Mulder. Actually, I believe he claimed people called him that, but I've yet to find a single person that ever called him that. Nick Pope claimed to run a British UFO program. He claimed that he was the head of the program and he investigated UFOs for the British government, the MOD, the Ministry of Defense. And as in many of these stories, when you peel back the layers of deception, his story starts to fall apart. Oh, I'll give him that he was an employee of the MOD, the Ministry of Defense. But it turns out many of his claims just aren't true. It can be factually verified with the British government that his claims of running a UFO program for the British government are entirely false. No, friends. Nick Pope never ran any UFO program for the British government. And there's a very easy way that we can tell that. It's because no UFO program existed in the Ministry of Defense at the time he claims to have run it. Not as he described. And we can see where he worked. And while there was an area of the British government that was investigating UFOs, he wasn't a part of it. He never was. And in fact, it would appear that Mr. Pope was a low-level clerical secretary for the Ministry of Defense, a low pay grade secretary, administrative assistant, whatever you want to call it. That person in the office that is lowest on the totem pole of importance. Not that there's anything wrong with being a secretary or an administrative assistant, but let's be clear here. You didn't run a UFO program. You were shuffling papers. You were shuffling papers around, Nick Pope, you liar. How many television programs did Nick Pope lie to and say, Yeah, my name's Nick Pope, and I ran the British UFO program. And I'm a UFO expert now. Sorry, can't do a British accent. How many television shows did Nick Pope lie to? I mean, somebody lied to those television shows, telling them that he ran, hi, I ran a British UFO program. Who would have been the person that lied to all those television programs? I mean, this guy is like, does anybody remember there was a joke guy who claimed to be a UFO, or I'm sorry, a yo-yo expert? Does anybody remember that guy? It was kind of funny and famous in the United States. Some guy just went to all these television shows and he claimed to be like the world's expert and world champion at yo-yos. And then they let the guy on TV and he just played with a yo-yo, like smacking himself in the head with it. He couldn't do anything with a yo-yo. But it shows you that the people at these television shows just believe what they're told. So Nick Pope has lied to everybody from Fox News to, I don't know, Larry King, the History Channel. How many television shows has Nick Pope lied about his background to in order to get on television? You got to give it to the guy. He's like the yo-yo guy. That's a clown and a fool and a joke. Nick Pope is a lying joke. Hey, let me on your television show. I worked for the British government. I was the British version of Fox Mulder, for the real British government. I investigated UFOs. No, you didn't. Nick Pope never investigated anything. He sat at a desk shuffling papers around like a secretary because that's what he was. And the proof of that is very, very plain to see. I have a lot to share with you. So we're going to cite fair use. Let me put my fair use banner up. I got a fun bunch of stuff to share with you. And I noticed there was somebody yelling at me in the live chat saying, I'm a lying joke. Hey, looks like Nick Pope is in the audience tonight. How you doing? You going to have some tea and crumpets? What's going on, Libby dude? And why are you living in the United States sucking up UFO money from Americans? Why don't you go back to England and try to fool those people? Oh, because the people in England know you lied about where you worked and what you did. You liar. So come over to the United States and pretend to be something you're not. But that's what we get here in UFO land. It's the land of make-believe, where make-believe is real. How much money can Nick Pope steal before the con is found out? Look, I'd like to ask a question. Why is he working all the UFO conferences when he never ran a UFO program that he says he ran? He lied through his teeth. And you idiots that run UFO conferences, where people are paying money because they want UFO information, and you're feeding them this J.O. who's been lying about where he worked and what he did for the British government for a decade or more, and you're paying the guy. Why are UFO conferences hiring this guy? It's a valid question. And by the way, the purpose of this video is not to demean him or humiliate him or, affect his life. I got messages before broadcast that he's just trying to make a living and I should leave him alone. Somebody actually said on Twitter, he over dramatizes his background for dramatic effect. He's just trying to make a living. Are you kidding me? Really? We're just supposed to give him a pass? He's a LARPer then. He never ran a UFO program for the British government. So every time he stands up at a UFO conference and says that he did, he's committing consumer fraud. He never did what he said he did. He never was who he says he was. He was a secretary sitting at a desk shuffling papers like a loser at the bottom rung. He was the bottom of the barrel. A clerk. He shuffled papers for more important people. He made copies for more important people. He faxed things for more important people in his office. Friends, I know high school girls who do that and probably do it better than he did. But let me put my fair use banner up and let's get to some of the substantial and supportive evidence that Nick Pope is a lying joke. And I wanted to mention that people have been asking me to cover this for a while, but I thought that everybody knew this. I thought it was another of these elephants in the room that all the UFO circle jerk show hosts, they don't talk about it. And why don't they talk about it? They don't talk about it because they're in on it. Anybody that books this guy at a UFO conference is in on the con. They know that this is bull. They know it's fake. It's fake story time with Nick Pope. But if he puts butts in the seats, because people want to hear from the British Fox Mulder, they book him. And they know it's fake. And they're shoveling this fake garbage down their conference attendees' throats. And what about all these people that book them to be in documentaries and be on television? Some of the television people have no idea. They do zero research on the guest. The guest makes claims. They take him for his word. Nick Pope is on Fox News and wherever else he's been on, many news programs, right? Talking about UFOs. Nick Pope is on the History Channel talking about UFOs like he's some kind of expert. He was a secretary who sat at a desk for 20 years. Oh, but he claimed that he ran a UFO program. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. So I also wanted to mention that somebody else mentioned this. Philip Mantle did all this great work on this. That's why I've never covered this, because I thought Philip Mantle has covered this and provided substantial and supportive proof that Nick Pope is a lying joke. But here we are, and I have to. By the way, the reason we're here is because Nick Pope just got caught in more lies, which we're going to reveal tonight in a Truthseekers exclusive. All right, so this is from the Ministry of Defense. And this is from Philip Mantle's Facebook page. He's kind enough to share his research and his work. He wrote them letters demanding, well, I don't want to say demanding, asking about Nick Pope's claims. And I guess the first letter that he got was not quite so clear, so he wrote him another letter. I'm going to reach out to Mr. Mantle. By the way, everybody wants him to be a guest here. I do too. And we were going to have him be a guest on the alien autopsy hoax. I hope that's still going to happen. I'm going to get with him, kind of got our signals crossed, and I didn't finish getting a date and booking that, but we're going to try to do that. A lot of people ask me what researchers I respect and still believe, and he's one of them. I often forget him because he's on the other side of the pond, right? And but I have a couple of his books, great researcher. So this is from him, and he's the one who largely found all of this out, and he should be given credit for that. And again, I haven't covered this because I thought if everybody knew, but you only knew if you were kind of following Philip Mantle, I suppose. So hopefully this will get the message out to a larger audience. Now, point 3 on this letter, turning specifically to your comments concerning Mr. Pope, I should point out that he was a junior desk officer in the Secretariat. That's the pool of secretaries, okay? A junior officer in the Secretariat. Air Staff, 2A section from 1991 to 1994, and was not in charge of or the head of any part of the Secretariat, Air Staff. Mr. Pope was an executive officer and shared the support of one administrative officer. Although, and then they give a level, he was and still is the focal point for handling queries directed at the MOD in connection with unexplained aerial sightings during Mr. Pope's time. Such work represented a small part of his overall duties. There were no staff working on this subject on a full-time basis, and this remains the case. Finally, I should say, in the civil service, promotion is based on merit over a number of years and wide range of tasks and experience. Mr. Pope's time in the Secretariat comprised some 36 months only, and anything attributed to him since July 1994, when he left, is and continues to be his own personal opinion. Hope this explains the position, and we can draw correspondence to a close. So great. Right from the Ministry of Defense, he was a secretary. And by the way, I believe that more people have clarified from the British government that he never investigated anything, okay? Never investigated anything. He never did a field investigation. He never got a report and jumped out of the office like Fox Mulder on a case and went and found those aliens. He never did any of that. Occasionally, a report of unidentified aerial phenomenon, UFOs, UAP, whatever you want to call it, might come across his desk, and then he filed it or forwarded it to the appropriate party within the MOD. That's it. That's all he did. That's all he did. But there's more. Recently, well, let's get to this. Let's get to this one. All right, here's more proof. And I got to say, there's an excellent blog that I just became aware of. It's called nickpopewatch.wordpress.com. And we're going to be citing fair use. And we're sharing from that blog, which details a lot more of Nick Pope being a lying joke, quite honestly. And also, by the way, just a clarification, I'm always honest with my audience. Someone accused me of being the writer of this blog, Nick Pope Watch. I'm not the writer. I don't know the writer. However, I have verified that the information being presented here is factual with other sources. So we're gonna cite fair use and share from this blog, Nick Pope Watch, wrong department. Okay, so here we see more proof that Nick Pope is a liar. And I'm going to read straight from this blog. Within MOD in the United Kingdom, D155 is responsible for investigating UFOs. It is a known fact amongst ufologists that the Ministry of Defense Department that investigated UFOs was D155. That has been pretty much established in a number of documents. This document, a secret telex from John Astaraki, D15 desk officer in 1975, have a line which reads, within MOD, UK D155 is responsible for investigating UFOs. The document in question was a telex following the famous sightings from the Argosy aircraft sent to MOD in New Zealand. Now, here's where the problem comes in, because Nick Pope worked in the Department Air Staff 2A. So how was he investigating UFOs when he didn't work in the correct department, which actually did investigate UFOs? That would be D155. Answer, he didn't investigate UFOs. He wasn't in the correct department. He was an admin officer in the air staff. Of course, Nick can't give a straight answer about any of this or confront the questions being raised about his claims of investigating UFOs. There are numerous documents proving that Nick Pope did not investigate UFOs. He was not the head of a government UFO project, and he certainly was not some Fox Mulder type character within the MOD. Don't take my word for it. Pop along to the National Archives and request the document reference DEFE 31/163 and feast your eyes on the line which states within MOD, UK D155 is responsible for investigating UFOs. Ergo, Nick Pope could not have been investigating UFOs for the MOD because he was not in that department. Apologies for constantly repeating things, but some people are not getting it. So there we see more proof that he lied. And remember, Nick Pope is lying to the American public. He's lying to television producers. He's lying to UFO conference organizers. He's lying to the History Channel. He's lying to Fox News. he lied to Larry King. Oh, Larry King. Come on. Somebody lied to Larry King, right? Let's take a listen at how Mr. Nick Pope is introduced on an episode of The Larry King Show from way back. Because this is to provide some context, because we're going to see, just from that, you can tell how dated this video I'm going to play is, right? How long has Nick Pope been a lying joke? And again, we're citing fair use. This is transformative work. We're educating the public about how long Nick Pope has been a lying joke.
Denmark is Nick Pope. For 21 years, Nick was a government official for the British Ministry of Defense. From 91 to 94, he ran the British government's UFO project at the Ministry of Defense, where he researched and investigated the UFO phenomenon for the British government.
Except he didn't. And we've just seen that. So this guy has been lying to people for a long time. And I got to say, it's been a nice ride. This guy has made hundreds of thousands of dollars talk about UFOs based on the claims that he's an expert because he ran the British government UFO program. Except he didn't. So how is this not fraud? I just want to know, how is this not fraud? That's a valid question. How is he not defrauding the public every time this clown stands up at a UFO conference and tells everybody that he ran a UFO program that didn't exist except in his imagination? How is that not consumer fraud? He's taking money, he's making false claims, and he's taking money. Is he going to give the money back now that we all know? This guy has been living off the teat of UFOs, sucking that cow dry for more than a decade, right? A long time. Nick Pope has been at this. But what can he do? Is there even consumer laws to protect us from UFO bullshitters? There should be. And again, everyone who interviews him is complacent in the con. And you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about all you UFO circle jerk podcasters and show hosts that will have Nick Pope on your show, but won't confront him with the overwhelming evidence that Nick Pope is a lying joke. You know how many times I've seen him on some show about UFOs and the host doesn't care to even bother to say, Nick, there's a little problem with your background, and we got to talk about that first. Do any of these UFO circle jerkers do that? No. They just let him on their show to talk about whatever he's going to talk about, and nobody brings up that elephant in the room. Kind of like when, some of these other people are citing child molesters as proof of their alien stories, and nobody brings up that elephant in the room either, right? You're not supposed to talk about this because some of these people are living in a terrible state of cognitive dissonance, and they just want to believe all of this UFO and alien shit so desperately that they just put that out of their mind. All right, let's forget about the fact that this guy made up all the shit he said he did. Let's just forget about that because he's got some good stories about aliens that we want to hear. Stories are great. Stories are wonderful. Stories are necessary for the human experience. But please, God, can we get done with these fake people telling and selling fake stories? Look, go write science fiction books, man. There is at least 2 or 3 really big UFO fraudsters that are very imaginative and very good dramatists and very good storytellers that I think could write some amazing books or make some amazing films or do something with that creative energy and interest you have in aliens and UFOs other than lie to people and steal their money, right? Speaking of stealing money, this is a blog post from nickpopewatch.wordpress.com entitled Nick Pope Whores Himself Out. This is where it gets really slimy, right? I'm just going to read this first and then I'll offer some commentary and thoughts on it. Nick Pope whores himself out. If you were an idiot with $50 and 4 minutes to waste, you could speak to someone who has consistently lied about his role within the Ministry of Defense. Whoopee! Don't forget the digital selfie that you can have with your favorite Walter Mitty. It's called Alien Con for a reason. You guys know I always joke every year when Alien Con comes up. For those who don't know, it's a conference about aliens, but it's called Alien Con. And every year when that comes up, I say, is it really called Alien Con for any reason? Asking for a friend. Because it's filled with these con artists. So it's funny that it's called Alien Con. Anyway, Pope wasn't the head of a UFO project. He didn't investigate UFOs for the MOD. He was a desk jockey who pushed papers into the appropriate pigeonhole. As always in the world of UFOs, buyer beware. And listen to this. This was at Alien Con. Do you have a specific, this is from Nick Pope, do you have a specific question on the topic of disclosure? Now is your chance to ask me yourself during a virtual one-on-one conversation where we will be able to speak privately for 4 minutes. Plus, you will receive a digital selfie and a downloadable recording after your session. Now available worldwide. Secure your slot. This fraud with the fake made-up background who claims he's the British Fox Mulder is charging people $50 for 4 minutes of a Skype call. But you get a digital selfie, right? And you get to ask a question and you get a downloaded recording. It's available worldwide. But here's the problem with this. There's a huge problem with this and him doing this. And maybe you ought to talk to a lawyer. That's my, I don't know, but I think that he should have some problems with this. There could be some problems with this. And you'll have to excuse me. I also wanted to just make sure that I mention, I reached out to Nick Pope some time ago and started asking some of these questions. He didn't want to give me an interview, and he blocked me on Twitter. And I just want to mention, tonight I'm letting it rip. I don't care anymore. But when I spoke to him or reached out to him, I was very respectful in my requests for him to answer some questions or give me an interview. And he absolutely refused to give me an interview and answer any of the questions. I think he made a snarky comment to me on Twitter, and then he blocked me on Twitter. So there's that. Yeah. But on Nick Pope's public Twitter, it's Nick Pope at Nick Pope Mod. He says, I ran the British government's UFO project. The media call me the real Fox Mulder. Spookily, my wife is a scientist, a skeptic, and a redhead. Sure. So he's really trying to paint himself as some kind of Fox Mulder type character from Great Britain, England, whatever. The problem with this is right on his public Twitter, he's making a factually inaccurate statement. And then still on his Twitter, and we see it up on the screen here, he is advertising to people that, again, this is on his public Twitter. He's advertising to people. On the same public Twitter that he's posting completely and totally factually inaccurate information about his history and his employment, here he is offering a service. See the problem with this? You can't make false statements in your public Twitter bio and then sell people a service, because it's reasonable to assume that people would read that Twitter bio and say, wow, I get to talk to the the guy who ran the British UFO program for 4 minutes for $50. Wow, I'm interested in UFOs. Yeah, I'll give the guy $50. How many $50 did this guy collect based on his fake background? How many victims of this $50 scam have there been? This is consumer fraud. Unless Nick Pope can prove that his statements are 100% factually accurate, taking people's money under those false pretenses, I believe that to be consumer fraud. How many have been scammed by Nick Pope for this $50 scam? And remember, this is just one of the scams. Then we got some scam books, right? Well, I don't even want to say the books are a scam, but he's selling all of these things. He's selling himself as a UFO expert in documentaries. I'm sure he gets paid for that. He's selling himself as a conference speaker. He's selling $50 Skype sessions with stupid people that think he's the British Fox Mulder. He's selling, he's done virtual conferences where people pay hundreds of dollars to listen into some UFO conference that's held online. Selling books, getting paid to be on television shows, all after a lie. It's all built on the root of an entire fake background and lie. But this is where we find ourselves. And here we are at the crossroads of another of these big UFO celebrities being found to be a fraud. Nick Pope is a lying joke. He is a fraud who has defrauded the public out of money for many years based on a lie. I must apologize for the dead air. Still recovering from that cold, slowly but surely. I am happy to say, in regards to that my wife was very concerned. Had a cold for far too long. So I had a COVID test and I'm negative. So just a cold, but it's one of those long winter ones that doesn't want to go away. So I apologize for any dead air today. That will be me muting the microphone while I hack up half a lung. So, I got sidetracked. I apologize. I just think this is fraud. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of, and why are these people like this that have lied to us for years put on some kind of a pedestal? Like there's some kind of important person in this so-called community. There's no community. There's victims and there's predators. And most of us, we're the victims. And Nick Pope is one of the predators. He has been taking money from people about UFO garbage that he sells for many, many years. He doesn't deserve anyone's admiration. And in my view, having been revealed as a fraud and a liar and a UFO huckster just out to sell garbage, including his fake garbage background, he should be cut like a cancer from this thing. But do I believe that's going to happen? No, I don't think so. Because there's too much money to be made. And there's too many people willing to play along with his scam. There's just too much money to be made, friends. So there is, I don't know what else I can even say here. Like, there is no reason to hold this guy up on a pedestal. Why is he a UFO celebrity to begin with? I'm going to share one more thing. This is interesting. It is, this is from one second, friends. Yeah, this is from John Burroughs, who's from the Rendlesham Forest event, which Nick Pope has been, since that happened in England, he's been milking that for years and years and years and years. And John Burroughs says, great, so it's okay to mislead and call yourself an expert. Pope has done a great job of misleading the public on his position within the MOD, using a title that never existed, knowing full well the MOD says very little on the subject. He hired an agent who uses his title to gain access to the news outlets. Name me one thing he has put out that wasn't already in the public domain. When pushed about anything of relevance, he invokes a security oath. I can personally tell you he lied about our book. This is the lie that he just got caught in recently. He claimed it required clearance by both governments. It didn't. He also lied about my settlement, stating he played a large part in my receiving it. He didn't. He had no role in it. Plus, he contacted me after learning. Yeah, so only got part of that, but that was the relevant part of this thing, right? Wow. Yeah. And there's one more thing that I wanted to share, so just try to bear with me, right? Yeah, bear with me, friends. Yeah, so a bit disorganized here. Thought I wasn't. One more link. There was one more link that I thought was important here. Oh, here we go. Now I got it. All right, friends. This one's important because there's another problem, another huge problem with Nick Pope. You know, he's Mr. Disclosure, right? He says that all of this, the British government should release all documents pertaining to this. Nick Pope claims to be some kind of disclosure advocate, after all, and claims that the British government is covering stuff up and they should release everything. They should disclose it all. So this is from Dr. David Clark. UFOs, I have loved and lost. Here we go. This is the relevant portion. Nick Pope is on record as saying there should be full disclosure of all information on UFO matters held by governments across the world. Yet he has gone to extraordinary lengths to ensure that MOD papers relating to him remain permanently hidden from the public on the grounds of privacy. A judgment published by the Information Commissioner in 2010 revealed that Pope had written to MOD asking them to withhold these papers permanently. How ironic, after 52,000 documents have been disclosed, the only files now being permanently withheld are those written by his superiors at the Ministry of Defense. The reason these papers are being withheld is because they contain information about Nick Pope's conversation to UFO believer that followed his alien abduction experience in Florida in 1991. This happened shortly before he joined the UFO desk, when he claims he had little or no interest in the subject. And here we go with Bob Schaefer again. Bob Schaefer's Bad UFO blog reveals how Nick Pope has been paid by computer games companies to promote stories about secret government plans to thwart alien invasions. Despite this conflict of interest, he shamelessly continues to make spurious claims about aliens posing a threat to Earth's defenses, and hints darkly that much of the best material has not been released by his former employers. Unable to debate rationally and face the loss of both status and credibility, he has decided the best tactic is to portray me as a useful idiot who is parroting the MOD line on UFOs having no defense significance. He fails to appreciate the delicious irony that this is the very same line that he himself articulated while employed at the MOD. Is he a useful idiot too, or just an idiot? Yeah. So, Dr. David Clark here did this, massive attempt to get the British government to release all the entire archive of UFO material. We'll know how far from the truth that character actually is. Yeah. So why is Mr. Disclosure trying to, he wants everything disclosed except anything that had to do with him. That's got to be withheld. And the British government has largely released most of what they said they had, or all of what they said they had. But here we have Nick Pope, the lying joke, is petitioning them, please don't release anything that had to do anything to do with me. And by the way, he's his own worst enemy, because people have said, why is there no, if he investigated UFOs, there'd be investigative reports with his name on them. And those would be included in that drop that the British government did. 52,000 documents. There's not one of Nick Pope, but he's the one that went to him and said, please don't release anything with my name on it. Nothing concerning me. He petitioned them to hold private, for privacy reasons, anything mentioning him. Come on, friends. What can I say? This is where we're at. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We will consider our presentation closed, and we're going to take a short musical break. That's just honestly to allow me to get some cough drops in me and come back for round two. When we return from the break, we're going to take a very short break. When we return, I will devote my full and total attention to the live chat. And if anybody has any super chats, I forgot to read them. I'm sorry. Got tied up in this presentation. So when we come back from the break, I will also read all the super chats. So if you have any to get in, I'm not sure how much longer we will be here. Please get the super chats in. We'll read every single one when we return from the break. We'll be right back.
It's time we cut these cords asunder. I think it's time we let the story end. My world is disconnected. I can feel I'm disconnected. Nothing's real, I'm disconnected. You can never touch me now.
And we are back, and we will be devoting our full and total attention to the live chat. 1 second. One more fun thing to share, I suppose. Just never let a good image go to waste. And yeah, so there's Nick Pinocchio. Where do we go from here, friends? Where do we go? How many more of these exalted ones are we going to pull down from their pedestal and show to be frauds, liars, with fake educations or fake employment histories or fake backgrounds or fake superpowers? By the way, for those that don't know, I didn't even know this. I just found out. Nick Pope lied to people in his book because he once wrote a book talking about alien abductions and used a code name for someone, Pete or something like that. And later he claimed, oh, that was my experience. I just wasn't ready to talk about it publicly. So I used a, anonymous name. Really? Is it something an honest person does? But then again, an honest person doesn't lie about where they worked or what they did. I'm kind of reminded of some of these tough guys from Philly that I grew up with. Had this guy on my block growing up, and he put on a suit and tie every day, and get on the train, and and he acts like he was some big shot. And it turned out that he was like getting the stockbroker's coffee. Like that's where we're at with Nick Pope. He was shuffling papers in some office. He wasn't Fox Mulder. He wasn't investigating any UFOs. It's all garbage. But this is where we're at. All right. So questions or comments for me, put them in the live chat. I'm shutting down all my tabs here because I'm getting a little ADD here. Yeah. I don't understand pretending to be somebody or not. Somebody mentioned that in the live chat. I mean, and also this is, I would say, if nothing else, this is an unfair advantage, right? Because I can't, can I just make up that I worked for some top secret United States government UFO program? Like I investigated UFOs and then take people's money after claiming that? Is that, because that's what we're saying is okay here. You could just totally make up a fake background, fake employment history, fake job you never had, fake program, right? Mike Jones, I grew up a working class man, Mike Jones. So I agree with your comment 100% here. Mike Jones says, considering I get actual background checks for working in a factory for, let's just say, crappy pay, and this dude can say he was the head of a UFO program and make tons of money for F's sake. Yeah, it makes you pissed, right? Like, this guy's charging $50 for a 4-minute Skype call with his fans, Mike Jones. This is crazy. Yeah, with no background checks, Mike Jones. No, yeah. UFO Watchdog says, a lot of UFO people, pro and con, are not who they claim. I absolutely believe that. I absolutely believe that. Oh, so we're going to check in with the PayPal donations. For those who don't know, there's 3 ways to support us here by throwing money at us. And I won't even charge you $50 for a 4-minute Skype call, you can hit that super chat button. And we read every single super chat. So you just hit that money button, put in however much money that you want, and we read whatever you write live on air. And we thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. You can also do a PayPal donation. And the link's in the description of this video and also in the About section. Or become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1 a month, and we give some extra content there. All right. Now my money... I don't have a pitch. just putting that out there in case you want to throw some money in our hat. And we appreciate that very, very much. All right. So we have some PayPal donations to call out. From November 18th, Jay sent a kind and generous $14 PayPal donation. Thank you very much for your kindness, your generosity, and your support, Jay. And Mikey sent a $2 PayPal donation on November 20th. Thank you very, very much. Continuing supporter of the show, Mikey. Thanks for your kindness. Every time I log into that PayPal account, it makes me smile because there are people all over the world throwing a couple of bucks in our hat so that we can bring you the truth instead of these Pinocchio liars, right? Isn't this worth? This is worth. If this guy's getting $50 for a 4-minute Skype call, I can log into my PayPal every day and praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Hallelujah. People all over the world want the truth, and they want me to help pull those layers of deception away. Praise the cash, friends. Every time I log into the PayPal account, I praise the cash. And I'm so thankful. Thank you all. November 20th, Carl with a kind and generous $6 PayPal donation. And just today, November 23rd, from Paul, kind and generous $6 PayPal donation. He says, love the wacky world of Wilcox show, Stephen Cambion. It was a blast. Have yourself a well-earned drink from me, Paul J. From the United Kingdom. Thank you so much, Paul. I'm gonna have a pint tonight on you, buddy. And thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. And thanks to all these kind and generous PayPal donators. Every time I log in there, I see somebody throw a couple of bucks in my hat. So I just want to tell you, if you catch the live broadcasts, you can send a super chat. But if you're catching a replay or any time of the day or night, you can always send a PayPal donation at any time of the day or night. Make sure you add a line and give us your chat room user ID and whatever you want us to read, and we'll read it for you. Now I'm going to go over to the actual super chats tonight. I apologize. I know I saw one earlier, and I think I missed however many there were. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm a little out of sorts tonight, so let's get over there though. Let's check out these super chats. Oh yeah, wow! Look at this. We had 3 lovely super chat donators tonight. Let me see if I can get them on the screen. Some of them. I can only go so far back, so I apologize if I can't. Doesn't look like I'll be able to get them up on the screen. Yeah. But, I can do it this way. PBR Street Gang is here. Shout out to PBR Street Gang. And by the way, PBR Street Gang, I'm drinking PBR tonight. I got a 6-pack of the Tall Boys for my wife. I don't know if that's why you're PBR, but Pabst Blue Ribbon, I hope. Anyway. All right, 1 second. We'll get them up on the screen this way. I don't like to... 1 second. We'll get them up on the screen this way. There we go. So we had a kind and generous $4.99 super chat from Lee Guy, continuing supporter of the show. Lee Guy has been a long-time supporter. Thank you for always coming here and throwing a couple of bucks in our hat. Boy, brother, can you spare $1? And Lee Guy always got a couple of bucks to spare and is a big fan of bacon, apparently. So thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support, Lee Guy. And then we have Marina Mavroginis. I said it perfect that time, Marina. Every time I'm getting better. The first time I had to say her name was difficult, right? But I got it now. Thank you, Marina Mavroginis, for kind of generous $2 super chat. And she says, this is for the love of the alien dance videos. Thank you. I appreciate your kindness, your generosity, and continuing support of the show. Dorothy Hawkins, who I recognize as being that thankless hero, Dorothy Hawkins, who sometimes makes transcriptions of entire interviews that people do and timestamps and things like that. Dorothy Hawkins, great member of the community. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. with a kind and generous $5 super chat. Says, great show, Stephen. Paper pusher Nick Pope. Yeah. Paper pusher Nick Pope line joke, Dorothy Hawkins. And that's where we're at, friends. Yeah. So I'm going to, any questions or comments for me, please put them in the live chat. Otherwise, we're going to bounce out of here and call this a quick one. I should mention that I have been trying to rest up, but that's not working. So, I mean, my absence, we haven't done a show in a while here. I've got a cold, and my children this week are home on Thanksgiving break, which means I get nothing done all day. Yeah. Well, I get snack duty done. Do you have any idea how many snacks a 5 and a 10-year-old require in one day? Right? And then if after you think you're done and you sit down, then they're like, we need drinks, Daddy. Anyway, very busy with my children, and but it's great. This is Thanksgiving week, so we'll spend some time with them, and also trying to kind of rest up from this nasty cold that won't go away. And next, we had a guest cancel last night. These things happen, and it is a unfortunate thing when it happens, but I didn't have anything else prepared to do yesterday. So we're going to bail out of that one. I think we're going to have 2 more shows this week, and then we're going to call it a week because it is a holiday week. Rebecca Turner says, good short show, Stephen. Always love your show. Yeah. Les Brewer says, eat you out of house and home. I can't believe the amount of snacks that my wife buys, Les. Like, it is ridiculous. You go in her pantry and there's I don't know, there's goldfish, right? And then there's the pretzel goldfish, and then there's some other kind of goldfish. There's 3 kinds of goldfish snack crackers. Then there's all these different kinds of crackers. They got this variety pack of chips, and they each have their preference, and then it gets nasty when you get done with that. It's like, there's no more Cool Ranch Doritos. You got to pick something else. And I argue with 2-foot tall terrorists sometimes. Yeah, they do. These kids eat. But they eat a lot more snacks than dinner, and that pisses me off because I cook dinner, and then they don't eat dinner sometimes. I gotta work on the snack thing, My wife leaves a buffet out for them sometimes. I think she thinks I don't feed them or something. So she leaves stuff out for them, like a tray, right? It's great. Lord Ludicrous Plaid says, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is the best Thanksgiving movie. You may be entirely correct, Lord Ludicrous Plaid. In fact, I think I agree with you. Love that movie. Absolutely love that movie. Moody Mongol says, what is the myth? Feed a cold, starve a flu. I've been eating a lot of soup, but I've been eating meals too. But I've been eating, I don't normally eat lunch. Normally I eat once a day, dinner. That's it. But I've been eating some chicken noodle soup because that does make my throat feel better. And and I guess it's comfort food, right? Liz G is asking about future plans or lineups. We have Unidentified S4 coming here tomorrow night, and we're going to do a UFO report. And I've not talked to him, but I know he's very keen and interested in the subject, so we're just going to do it online, and that might be a train wreck. I don't know. No, it should be good. Yeah, it should be good. We'll see. And then also, everybody's asking me to cover Corey Good's latest garbage, so we're going to do that. But Cal Korf is here and says, when I lived in Europe, I invited Nick Pope to a conference of former intelligence officials to talk about the subject of UFOs. That's pretty funny. Moody Mongol says, Dick Dope, like the salt and pepper just for men look. Yeah. PBR Street Gang is doing it for me. I don't need to tell Pix this today because PBR Street Gang just did it for me. It says, hey, Pix, Davis documents are phony. Laugh out loud. Alex Kolka is here and says, Stephen, you do important work. Thank you. You deserve more viewers. Yeah, from your mouth to God's ears. We're slowly growing here, and some people are waking up. Calcorf, I didn't get any image on Twitter Messenger. And by the way, it's Twitter DMs or Facebook Messenger. I checked both. I didn't get a message from you. Oh, wait, I'll check again. Now I got it. Wow, this is interesting. Yeah, so Calcorf basically, this is funny. All right, we'll share one more thing about Mr. Lying Joke Nick Pope, and this is from Calcorf. 2020 to 2021 complaints against Nick Pope for fraud. In 2020, I started looking into the many untrue claims made over the years by Mr. Nick Pope, who the media loves to call the real Fox Mulder, which is comical. Besides the fact that Fox Mulder doesn't exist and that the Fox TV series X-Files is fiction, after analyzing Pope's claims, it's obvious to me that he's lying about heading up the British Ministry of Defence's UFO department. Not only has the UK's MOD confirmed in writing that Pope's claims are false, Nick Pope also admitted to me in writing that he just ignores such claims. Imagine that, ignoring the truth. Here's 3 of several docs proving Nick Pope is a fraud. Regarding his boasts about running Britain's MOD UFO program, Nick Pope now lives in the USA. The fact that he's never declared himself, this is a good point, Nick Pope has never declared himself to be a former big cheese of the Ministry of Defense's UFO program, which in reality never existed as he claims, is an arguable material omission in his green card paperwork, unless Pope has been lying for decades to the public and never held this position. Ergo, that would be nothing to declare. So there we go. More substantial and supportive proof that Nick Pope is a fraud. He's a fraud. Big Fat Creep says, any Jordan Maxwell talk. He's a trip. I like some of what he talks about. No, I'm not into Jordan Maxwell. I think Jordan Maxwell is largely garbage. But some people love Jordan Maxwell. Me, I'm not a fan. Guy's been around forever, talking about a whole lot of stuff. Ghost Rider is asking, did I get an answer from Stavati Aerospace? Absolutely not. No answer whatsoever from Stavati Aerospace. I'm going to email them some more and call them some more and see if we can get some kind of answers about David Wilcox's new partner in his anti-gravity hover car scam, saying that he built, well, David Wilcox said that his partner, the CEO of Stavati Aerospace, built 3,500 spaceships for the secret space program, and they're using them to fight the reptilian aliens and the gray aliens that are trying to eat us. So there you go. CW Channer is here and says, that dude stole my shirt. Do you know what's funny, CW Channer? This is in my drawer, and I didn't have a clean shirt, but this was clean, and I'm like, no, that's the CW Channer character shirt, but I didn't have a clean shirt, so it is what it is. Karen Roach is here and says, hey, Stephen. Hey, Karen, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while here, or maybe I have. In any case, good to see you. Lee Guy is wishing CW Channer. Archaic Revival is here and says, going to binge your channel this holiday and your midnight hour stuff. Yeah, we'll have a show on Thanksgiving, a midnight hour show. It's a replay, of course, from an interview from 2018. I'm not sure which one is this week, but that'll be 8 p.m. on Thanksgiving evening. Victor Calero says, I don't understand the ET hate here. I don't know what that's about, right? Mike Jones says, amazing how many of the UFO circus crew are in the mainstream, to be honest. Yeah. It's funny how many of these UFO celebrities are complete and total frauds. I mean, look, we've got Richard Dolan interviewing dead guys. We've got Stephen Greer claiming there's an alien invasion about to take place any day now, and I need $400,000 to tell everybody about it. And we've got Nick Pope just totally making up a fake fraud background. Him saying that he ran some program that never existed. He didn't run anything. He's a fraud. But hey, pay your money. Make sure you attend that latest alien con or UFO con or con in the desert. It's all cons. This is that's where we're at here with this stuff. I mean, Sixth Sense says the circle jerk of clowns doing the circle jerk. Yeah, I think so. Oh, Mike Jen says, actually, it's mainstream media what I am on about. It's all a circus. Yeah. And how come nobody fact check him before they put him on TV? Like, they put him on TV as a UFO expert. You know, none of the television shows that I've seen him on bothered to ask the British government if what he said was true. None of them. They just put him on TV. Oh, you ran the British UFO investigative team? Okay, come on our television show. Oh, shit, he didn't do any of that. It's funny. It's funny. I talked about the yo-yo guy. I'm telling you, look it up. Yo-yo guy. There was a guy, and he pretended to be like the yo-yo world champion or the Olympics of yo-yo guy, like the world's leading expert on trick yo-yos and stuff. And then he got on the show and he just like spun it around and hit himself in the head with it, and he couldn't do anything with a yo-yo. It was funny. That's what we have here with Nick Pope. He frauded his way on all these television shows, pretending to be something that he's not. Todd Southern says, facts are bad for ratings and sponsors. Yeah. Ghost Rider says, we don't hate ETs. We just hate misrepresentations and lies. Oh, Karen Roca. Oh, this is going to be a tough one. I have to do, there's another show that I have to do. I got a psychic reading, and I don't want to say anything about it right now. And Karen is in our live audience. She's the psychic, gave me a psychic reading, and I made a bunch of notes about my experience with that. And I'll be sharing them on an upcoming show. I'll be sure to let you know, Karen, when I do that. I will message you when I do. Yeah. All right. Any questions or comments for me, please put them in all caps. You should use fair use and show it. I'm not sure what you want me to show, Big Creep. The whole psychic reading? She sent me audio files, so that would probably be kind of boring, right? And besides that psychic reading got really, really personal. So I'd prefer not to share it publicly. I mean, she talked about things that had happened to my mother and all of these different things that I would prefer to keep to myself, but I'll be talking in general terms about my experience with her psychic reading on a future show. I gotta gather my notes. Lord Ludicrous Plaid says Bezos just gave $100 million to Obama Foundation, but gave the Galileo Project nothing. That says a lot. Oh, those guys aren't done scamming. I mean, fundraising. Lord Ludicrous Plaid. I should apologize for my characterization. Honestly, I am too ignorant of the Galileo Project and to really make those kind of statements, but it doesn't look good so far. It doesn't look good. Yeah. I don't know if I can find it, Big Creep. I'll go look. I will look. I will look. Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, there is a video, but it's all commercial, so I'd rather not play it. Just search for Yo-Yo Guy on YouTube. It is hysterical, and watch it yourself, right? And people are discussing Cal Korff and Melissa Martell, their new podcast, The Wicked Truth. Shout out to those guys. Just did a new podcast on the Kennedy assassination, and I don't want to get in an argument with Cal Korff, but I disagree with a lot of what he believes. I don't believe in the magic bullet or any of that stuff. I don't know. I got Jim Marr's book, and that's what that JFK movie was based on. I guess I need to read more about it. Mikey Jones wishing us farewell, saying, already I got to go. See you next time, guys. Thanks, Steven. Great show. Good to see you, Mike Jones. So we are going to bounce on out of here and call it. Well, it wasn't that quick, but it was quicker than usual. I didn't think we'd need 2 hours to do this because it wasn't that much to share. And for those asking me, I already received somebody else in Twitter DM is asking me, share stuff with them. I'll share everything. Everything that we showed tonight, I'd be happy to give you guys the sources for. Fex Box with a kind of generous $5 super chat says CW Channer is a life support unit for our coming beard overlords. I don't know what that's about, but I support that, whatever it means. And thank you, Threxbox, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. $5, very generous of you. I think you're a first-time super chatter, so thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. And thanks to everybody tonight for helping us to praise the cash. Yeah, I am terrible at asking people for money. So what we do here is we use the experts, friends, and we thank everybody for praising the cash, and ask people for more money by using the experts, and that would be televangelist, friends.
Here's what I want you to do. If the Lord is speaking to you, ushers, bring some baskets down. Just leave them there. I'm not finished. I got one more point to make. This is what I want you to do. Thank you, Miss Marguerite. I brought her because I want you to understand that the work must continue. This is not a plea for money. It's a plea for partnership so that we can be what we're supposed to be. I just need 497 people to say, I'll do 300.
I love that guy. By the way, that guy was collecting money for a roof for a church for several years, as I recall, and they never put the roof on the church. He collected hundreds of thousands of dollars for that, right? I'm not sure why Pix is saying it's a plea for money. Okay. Ryan Gable is here. Shout out to Ryan Gable. Hey, Ryan. Ryan from the Secret Teachings.info. Shout out to Ryan from the Secret Teachings. Go over and check him out. He's doing some great work lately. I've been trying to catch up. I've been listening while I was cleaning my office. I'm not going to show you tonight, but I'm very proud of myself because I cleaned this place like you wouldn't believe from here over. And I still got to do from here over. There's a whole nother mess over there. A pile of junk and lights and computers and laptops and microphones, and I don't even know what's over there, but I got it organized. I got this side organized. I'm going to get the other side organized, and we'll see how it goes, right? The guy says, God, I got suckered into a church like that a long time ago. Yeah, God is all powerful, all knowing, omnipotent, cares about you, and he loves you, Lee Guy. But he always needs money. The preacher said it was a plea for partnership. Yeah, I consider everybody that sends me a couple of bucks my partner in this crazy adventure. Picks. Everybody that throws a couple bucks in my hat is my crazy partner, okay? Because what we're doing is crazy here. And supporting this is crazy, right? Ryan Gable, who's also been covering David Wilcock's garbage, says, here's a new classic Wilcock claim. Fish don't swim, they levitate upstream. He says that he can teach you to levitate as a saint. Yeah, and it only costs $333, Ryan Gable. Yeah. I don't know. Cal Korff doesn't like Jim Marr's book. He was a Billy Meyer nut. I don't know about that. I never heard him talk about Billy Meyer, was he? Oh, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Archaic Revival. I'm not going to read that out loud, but I'm going to put it on the screen because you get the comment of the night. Yeah, so many of those guys get caught, right? So many of those guys get caught, usually with gay prostitutes. Like they're men and they get caught with a gay male prostitute. That's even funnier when that happens, right? And usually they preached against that sort of thing, right? V telling Ryan Gable that she's read everything he's published. I want to read his book on artificial intelligence. It's been on my list, my reading list for a while. Yeah. Ryan Gable says that's down from 500. Yeah, it's a discount. It's only $333 this month. I don't know how David Wilcock's not in prison yet, and you may recognize Ryan Gable's name. That was him that did that diss rap. It's on our channel here. And we also used it in our Wacky World of Wilcock episode, which we just got finished. That's a lot of editing, and thanks to Spooky and the Kate Schneider for their help, giving me clips that they'd already put together, and we just sandwiched that thing together, right? Don't be sorry, Archaic Revival. It was funny. I can't say that out loud because of the YouTube algorithm wouldn't like that. Sixth Sense reminding everybody, you can email Truthseekers at truthseekersshow@gmail.com. Yeah. And Ryan Gable's hoping that those are good reviews. I hope so too. And listen, on that note, we are going to bounce on out of here. Now, I'm going to be back tomorrow. I'm not sure when. Depends on what my children are doing or letting me do. I think I got them all day tomorrow. I think my wife works all day. Thanksgiving vacation. I'm going to try to enjoy tomorrow. That's what I'm going to do. You know, I have a lot more fun when I don't take it as a chore, if that makes any sense. I take it as like, all right, you know, let's do something though. I got to figure out some things to do with them. I got this projector. We may watch some cartoons in our living room, huge, or some other stuff like that. Yeah, there's no going outside. My older son always wants to go outside, and I'm kind of like, it's cold, bro. He doesn't care. He does not care at all, right? I do, though. Yeah, and I think I'm even bailing on the cabin this weekend because it's going to be going down to 20. And I'm having car trouble. My car wouldn't start today. I think it's just the battery, but, you know, you don't want to go to some place where it's going to be 10 degrees and hope that the battery is good. So I've got to make sure that's good before I'm back to the cabin. And besides, it's going to be super, super freezing. Not looking forward to that. So what can I say to wrap up here? I would say this. I'm tired. I'm tired of these UFO fake fraud huckster idiots that are out there filling their pockets with UFO dollars when they haven't earned it. You want to earn it? Go out and actually investigate something, Nick Pope. Don't just sit there talking about things like you're some kind of expert, because you never were an expert. You were a secretary. And it's quite a feminine job too, isn't it, for a man? Must have been emasculating for him, being the higher-ups errand boy, you know, coffee getter, paper filer, faxer, right? So maybe, just maybe, Nick Pope created a fantasy world where he was someone important. And I suppose for that, I have sympathy for him. I've worked at some crappy corporations riding a cubicle for 10 hours a day. And that's essentially what Nick Pope did. Faxing stuff, filing stuff. He was a secretary. And maybe, just maybe, in an effort to cope with his meaningless existence, because I've been there, that existence is meaningless. He crafted a fantastical world where he was someone He's not. But what I can't get past is the fact that after he was out of that soul-crushing job where he was a nobody, paper-pushing secretary, he continued the fantasy. He amplified the fantasy. And he has literally traveled the world claiming to be something that he is not. And I suppose that people can buy what he's selling. But what he is selling is a fantasy. Telling people that his stories are true, claiming that his background is true and real when it's not, is a real problem. Maybe Nick Pope should go get a job, one where he earns his place at the table instead of lies his way to his place at the table. And again, I'm tired of these guys on pedestals, you know, and I'm tired of you UFO circle jerk show hosts. Nick Pope was a coward. He wouldn't come on my show because he's a coward, and he knows I'm going to ask him these hard questions that nobody ever asks him. These UFO circle jerk hucksters are complacent, even accessories to this criminal act of fraud that Nick Pope perpetrates every time he stands up and lies to his teeth, saying that he ran a government program that didn't exist, ran a government program that he did not run. There's proof of that. So these UFO circle jerk show hosts, and just remember, every time you see Nick Pope on a show and the guest doesn't ask him about this, that's a UFO circle jerker. And you should never listen to UFO circle jerkers because they don't care about the truth. They care about clicks, views, and filling their pockets full of UFO dollars from stupid people that are willing to believe Nick Pope and his fantasy. The truth is, Nick Pope is a lying joke. And for any show host to sit there and not call him out on being a lying joke, then they're part of the problem. I hope tonight we helped be part of a solution. People who are lying or defrauding the public should not be welcome anywhere near this thing. They shouldn't be hired at UFO conferences when we know they're lying. They shouldn't be welcomed on television shows when we know they're lying. They shouldn't be charging people $50 for a 4-minute Skype session when we know they're lying. They shouldn't be being paid to be in documentaries when we know they're lying. In a perfect world, this broadcast would go out and more people would hear about the consumer fraud taking place here. And Nick Pope wouldn't be able to do it anymore. But do I believe that's going to happen? No, hell no! There's more stupid people in the world that don't care. They don't even care. People argued with me about this guy. Well, he overly dramatized his background because he's trying to make a living. It's okay that he lied. No, it's not. If he lied about his background, who's to say he's not lying about everything he talks about? His entire story starts with a lie. Probably ends with one too. Finally, I would say that the purpose of this broadcast isn't to damage his reputation. It's not to affect his business, even though his business, I believe, is fraud. Hey, good for you. You want to lie to people for a living? But don't be surprised when people start calling you on those lies. I don't think anything's going to change here. Because I hear from, let's just say, some more veteran researchers than me that have been at this thing for 50 years, some of them, that it's always been like this. This is a circus filled with fakes, frauds, weirdos, criminals, rapists, child molesters, murderers, convicted criminals, convicted fraudsters, all here in this circus, and no one seems to worry, and no one seems to mind, and no one seems to call out the elephants in the room. And if nobody else will, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna do it. I'll call out those elephants. And I have become a villain to many, but a hero to others. If you want to live in a delusional fantasy world, you don't want to listen to me. There's plenty of UFO circle jerkers out there that are going to give you that latest hit of hopium, UFO, garbage, disclosure, nonsense, fake fraud shit. We're not going to do that here. You see, they wouldn't give me my place at the table, so I took it. And like it or not, this is my place at the table. And this is where I find myself on this journey. Disgusted and tired of all of this nonsense, garbage, fantasy land. I don't want to live in fantasy land. And if I do, I'll watch a fantasy television show that's fiction. And I'm okay with fiction. If I want to escape to a fantasy land, or hey, I'll play Skyrim for the 8 millionth time. But I don't accept some idiot standing up in front of people saying, my background is true and real, when it's not, telling fantastical stories and making money at it. I just find fault with that. Maybe I'm too judgmental. Maybe I should work on that. But in the meantime, I'll be here swinging. I will be here doing my very best to bring people the actual truth. You have my word that I will never knowingly lie to my audience. I might make mistakes. I might get things wrong, but I'm not going to tell you something that I'm not in order to do better at this game, because that's what this is. It's a game. Do you see how well these people just willing to lie through their teeth? Do you see how much money these people make? And here I am, hey, we're doing pretty good. I can't complain. But I'm not making hundreds of thousands of dollars like some of these liars. Maybe that makes me a little bitter and jaded. But maybe somebody should be bitter and jaded at that stark truth and reality. You want to make it at this game? Lie through your teeth. You want to make more money? Lie through your teeth. Lie to everyone every day. Every day, Nick Pope has to wake up and look at himself in the mirror and realize that he has to lie to people today to make some money. The next day, he has to wake up, look at himself in the mirror, and know that he has to lie and deceive people again and again and again. Now, for anybody with a conscience, that's got to be some kind of hell life to have to lead. And that's why so many of these guys, I'm not saying this about Nick Pope, I don't know personally, but many of these UFO hucksters have drug and alcohol problems out the wazoo. And it's my opinion and speculation, but I think that spans from lying to people all day. Lying to people every day is corrosive to your soul. It's going to require some self-medication. That's why a lot of these guys are drug addicts or alcoholic messes, because that gets to them after a while. I don't know. Nick Pope's been at this a long, long time, and I don't know that it's gotten to him yet. But I hope it does, and I hope he wises up and decides to do something better with his life. Maybe he could become somebody that is important instead of pretend to be somebody who used to be important. And this is where we find ourselves. And this is where we will end it for tonight. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. I especially want to thank all of our kind and generous Super Chat donators and PayPal donators and our Patreon supporters. I do want to remind you that there's one other way that you can help us, and that is to like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. It really does help. That algorithm helps us so much. if it sees interaction, you can thumb up the video. You can thumb it down for all I care. It still helps us. So please share these videos on your social media, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're listening in audio podcast land, be sure that you come over to YouTube, put Truthseekers in the search bar. Look for me, the strange guy with sunglasses, your host, Stephen Cambion. Smash the subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. And then you'll know when there's a live show, and you can come here and be a part of the live show, ask questions, offer comments, or your own commentary, which we welcome here. So that'll do it for tonight, friends. You can follow me at Stephen Cambion on Twitter. That's usually the best place to find out more about me and our show. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight. We had a great audience tonight, great attendance, great peak numbers. I was surprised being away a little while. Thank you guys for that. So until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you, especially you, Nick Pope. I hope you stop lying to people to make a living.
leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I'll barbecue your ass flat. I will cook your ass up so fast, and I'll tell them, "Oh, I killed a cow out back, baby." You think Christ would eat somebody? He would never do that. I will. I'm ready to hang them up, gut them and skin them and chop them up. You know what? I'm ready. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. And that's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass first. God, if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to get my hands around your throat.